Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Angel Angle. If you have decided to come back to us again, what are you doing? Maybe go talk to your children, go talk to your parents, maybe get a hobby. But welcome back to episode number 3 of the Angel Angle. My name is Brent. I'm here with my father, Mike. Today, we're going to be talking more about the Angels. This is your podcast for everything Angels baseball. We have a couple things to go over today, and something I'm very disappointed in is that my father actually predicted something correct for once. If you guys watched last episode, we made some predictions, or not a prediction, but our wish list for the free agent we would most like to see join the Halos. And my father really wanted Matt Moore. And quite literally, less than 12 hours later, it had been reported the Angels had signed Matt Moore. So, Dad, would you like to say anything about your astounding feat that rarely happens?
Perry gave me a quick call first thing in the morning and confirmed that he was in agreement with me that what was left.
Yes, obviously Perry was definitely watching and listening to it with our 40 viewers we had. But yes,
absolutely,
we did sign Matt Moore, and you did make a believer of me last episode about Matt Moore. I didn't, I think it's because he was a Texas Ranger. And I just typically don't like the Rangers, so I just didn't really look at him too much. But he was a good reliever last year.
Yeah. 74 innings of work as a reliever.
And that's the part that I like.
83 strikeouts in those 73. So your big thing is at least a strikeout an inning, right?
I do like that. I mean, we signed him for a one-year deal, $7.55 million. $7.55 million doubloons, is like to say. So there's not really any risk here with a one-year deal. It doesn't really matter how much money you give them, really. I mean, unless we're gonna go make a humongous splash at the deadline, we need that space. But so not a huge.
I mean, obviously not a massive risk. It's a 1 year. I mean, he was 5-2, 5 saves, a 1.95 ERA, a 1.18 WHIP. He had 14 holds. So, I mean, he did a good job overall last year, and we know Matt Moore's career, he hasn't really been more than average. So we might not get this Matt Moore, but if we get something, even relatively close to it, I think we'll be in good shape. I just think it's more depth.
Well, Matt Moore was a starter when he first started off with the Rays. He did pretty good with the Rays, and then he kind of had a couple rough years, and he got kind of, I think with Texas was his first year as relieving, right? Last year? Let me take a quick look. Yes, last year was his first full year in the pen. And he obviously put it together in the pen, but he had been trying to start. He went to Japan for 1 year. He must have learned some great things in Japan. Maybe, who knows?
Shohei Ohtani's
pitching coach took him. Yeah, that's probably what happened. But the big thing for him is that he did say that he's been utilizing his curveball more, and it was a pitch grip change over in Texas. He changed his grip on his curveball. In his words, it had a little bit more bite.
Yeah, it's tighter.
A little bit more bite.
Not so loopy.
Not so loopy, which would describe my curveball. Yeah. But yeah, his had a lot more bite. It obviously worked well for him. 1.95 ERA. It looks a lot like a Aaron Loop situation to me, with the 1 ERA.
Let's hope that we get a different result.
Golly, if Aaron Loop comes back to his form, and to we'll be good. Yeah. But Matt Moore is a very good addition. His hard contact rate went down, and his soft contact rate went up also. And he's also striking out the same amount of batters as Luis Castillo at that rate, and he's generating the same weak contact as Max Scherzer. So, but that's all in terms of last year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of last year, if we get last year's Matt Moore, it's a humongous pickup for us. Good job, Dad, I guess, maybe for convincing Perry Manassian to go get him. The only downside with him is that he is a little bit of a walk machine, especially last year coming out of the pen.
Yeah.
I'm sure the mindset's a little bit different coming out of the pen. He had some walk issues early in his career. He kind of toned it down. He was in like the low 3s in the middle part, but then last year was a 4.6.
Yeah, that definitely is probably one of the concerns, as we know the Angels love to walk people and put them on base and make things exciting in the late innings, so we'll see where he ends up. I mean, he may not. We'll see how late innings we use him. I think a lot of it's going to be how everybody else is performing. But just another depth piece we needed.
That's the big thing. It's a depth piece because I mean, we needed just one more piece in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Just to lengthen us out. And the thing I like about it is that not only is he left-handed, but also he is a multi-inning reliever. So the Angels are looking to do like that 5.5 starter rotation, really, where they don't really know who's the 6 starters going to be. With all those off days, especially early in the schedule, with those, was it Sundays off or whatever it is? What days do the Angels have off?
They just have a lot of days off. Like almost every week they have one day off. So most of their weeks are 6 days.
Right.
6 games. So in a
So
week.
I mean, even if you need a spot start, even if it's just 4 innings, 3-4 innings, Matt Moore, he's got your back. So Matt Moore, very surprising. My dad actually got something right. He's 33 years of age. On the attractiveness scale, I'll give him like a solid 5. I haven't seen his hair yet. You know, I'm a big judge there on hair. Haven't seen the guy's hair yet. We'll have to take a look at that and see what
I think it looks a lot like yours. So
then he's in trouble. Then yeah. But really good pickup, Matt Moore. Only $7 million. And hey, if we're out of contention, he's doing good. Guess what? Then we flip him.
Yeah.
People like bullpen pieces.
Yep.
But Matt Moore, happy to have you. Just don't suck. Please.
Welcome to the Angels.
He'll find a way to suck. So
Absolutely.
It's the Angel way. All right. Continuing on our series of the all-time Angel greats, position by position. Next, we're going to do left field. Oh, but Brandon, you did third base last time. Shut up. We're going to left field now. I'm jumping wherever I want. Now we're doing left field.
Obviously, you're jumping. I'm like, left field? Okay, we'll do left field.
I do not care. I do not want you guys to know what we're doing next week. Next week, I don't know, we'll do like Bat Boys or something. I don't care. I'll do anything. All right. So we're going to name our top 3 all-time Angels left fielders, and this is by season, so it's a particular season of a player, top 3. And you really look at kind of the list, it really comes down to 2 people, in my opinion. It's Garrett Anderson and Brian Downing. Unless you have someone else in there that I just botched, didn't see. I mean, those are the 2 players.
I do have one more player that could be in there that had a good season. We'll talk about that. Do you want to go first this time?
If you're putting Mike Trout, like the one year he was in left field.
No. I'm not doing that. No, not absolutely.
No, because he played center his rookie year, didn't he?
No, because Hunter was out there.
No, it's Borges, and Hunter was in right. But then Trout was
Hunter
in
gave
center.
up center field for Trout.
But then where did Borges go?
Well, Borges was Borges. I mean, that guy was. I don't know. If we ever started that guy on a consistent basis, then that was a big problem anyway. Borges is he's a defensive guy.
All right,
no
so
offense.
I'll go first. We're going to do 3, right? Number 3 first?
Yep.
All right, my third guy is, and look, I understand he's an Angel legend, but I only have him once on my list. It's 2002 Garrett Anderson. He'll be my number 3 all-time left field season.
You only have him once on your list?
Yep.
Wow, I think you're lying, but okay.
I'm not lying. Garrett Anderson's only on there once, 2002. And his 2003 season was slightly better. The reason why I'm picking 2002, as we all know, is because of the World Series. That is exactly right. He was 4th in MVP voting. He's a World Series champion. He led the league in doubles with 56, 29 bombs. His slash line was 306, 332, 539, and 871 OPS. He was about 27% better than league average. Great season. 2003 was slightly better. He's number 3, and he's not seen again on my list. Love Garrett Anderson. Angel legend.
Wow.
No doubt about it. Angel legend. Wow. But, you're just looking at what he did.
You're pulling something out that has, because there's no way that Garrett Anderson isn't on there more than once.
No, I'm being serious.
After last week when you had Glass on there twice. I think if you look at left field and our left field history, again, maybe I didn't research enough to look at every single year. We did.
Do you have a different guy in every spot?
No.
Oh, you did something funky.
I did. I don't. Do I do things funky?
Yes, you do. Give me a number 3.
No. Okay, so this is what it came down to. My number 3 was the 2000 Garrett Anderson.
2000
Garrett Anderson.
What a 2000 Garrett Anderson.
Yeah, 35 home runs, 117 RBIs. He batted .286. He had a .519 slugging and a .826 OPS. And if you look at that along with his .02 and his .03, all slightly improve. And if you look at the seasons that, unless I miss some guys, which is possible, we've had a lot of left fielders over the years, unless you're going with Upton.
You forgot Josh Hamilton.
Okay, yeah, what with his drug induction?
Hey, don't.
Didn't he?
Don't talk about Josh
the one?
like
Isn't
that.
he the one in like the third game slid into first base and
and tore his
busted his
thumb?
Yeah. So that I'm talking about. So you kind of set this up last time, because last time I didn't really think about it this way. I was just going, I want one player in each spot for each year.
Yeah.
Right. But then you were talking about what are the best seasons of all time, and it could be the same guy more than once.
Yes.
So I agree with you, kind of looking at what I saw out there in seasons, and I could have missed somebody. Obviously, I must have if you've got two people above Garrett Anderson. But let's hear your number 2 pick.
Number 2 is 1979 Brian Downing.
Okay.
1979 Brian Downing. 326. He batted 326.
Yeah, he did.
This is I didn't even know. I'll be honest with you. I've always heard of Brian Downing. Never looked at the guy once before today.
Okay.
All right. But the guy had on base percentages in the 400s.
Yeah.
He was having Juan Soto-like seasons. 418 on base percentage, 462 slugging, an OPS plus of 142. 42% better than the league with OPS wise. That's crazy. It was his only All-Star year, which shows just how much average was valued. Because if you look at his average over his career, it wasn't crazy. He was maybe mid-2s, maybe high-2s. This year he hit 326. He's an all-star. So that shows really just how much batting average is valued back then, how things have changed now with on-base percentage and all the other stuff. But Brian Downing, 1979, definitely a year to remember. His only all-star year, which for me is hard to believe.
Yeah, I saw that too. I looked that up and I said he only had one all-star year.
He was only an all-star once.
He was only an all-star once.
Even that, though, was better than 2002 Garrett Anderson.
1 year he had one player of the month and one player of the week in his career as well. So he did a lot of ones.
They had that back then?
Yeah, they did. So he was a player of the week and a player of the month.
Wow.
Do you know the most memorable thing? Do you remember, and again, I know you wouldn't remember this because you weren't alive, but I'm sure you've seen highlight reels of him and Fred Lynn in left center field. Lynn was our center fielder, 1982, running back on a ball, and they collide midair, and the fence is like caving in out in left center, and they're bam, and Downing, they kind of just miss, like clip each other. Downing goes into the wall, and Lynn reaches up and still catches the ball. Took a home run away from, I think it was like Amos Otis or someone like that.
I've never seen that my entire life.
You haven't seen that clip?
No.
We're going to put it on today so you guys can watch the clip. It's really a quick one. No, it's an awesome play.
All right.
I mean, to me, it's one of the best catches because you got some guy. Brian Downing was a big guy, and that guy come bearing down, and Fred Lynn was not built like Brian Downing, and he was bearing down on him, and they collided up in midair, and the whole fence is caving in out in left center. And Lynn hangs onto the ball.
What were the fences made it back then? Like chain link fence? What the heck?
No, it was, but they just like it had a lot of give. You'll have to watch it. We'll show the clip, and it's awesome.
All right.
So that's I just remember that catch because of how crazy it was. They showed it over and over.
Yes.
At that time,
it was a big deal.
It was a big deal. There was no
back in
internet,
the news,
so
back in the paper.
I had to watch it on KTLA reruns on 10 o'clock at night news.
Back in what, 1910?
Sure.
Did you guys have electricity back then,
it was
or what?
Black and white. All right, my turn. So I'm going to pull a Brandon right here, and I'm going back to the well with Garrett Anderson in 2002, the World Series year. And again, slightly better. He batted 306, 539 slugging, 871 OPS. He had 123 RBIs. That was his most RBI year. So again, I looked. I just don't think anybody, if you're just comparing season over season, he probably had 4 seasons that were better to me than the next guy.
No.
That's what I think.
No, Brian Downing had better years.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You just look at it's not hard. It's not hard at all. Okay. Garrett Anderson wouldn't lay out for a single ball. His defense was it was solid, and it was solid left field.
First of all, you're right. So the only time I ever saw Garrett Anderson slide was I think it was at the World Series when he made that actual diving catch. I think that's the first time I ever saw him fly. And he used to get flack for that, but a lot of it was he was just super good at running the right lanes to get to the ball, where he wouldn't have to. He would routes. Thank you, the right routes to get to the ball, so he wouldn't have to lay out. Like a lot of guys. And again, I agree with you that he used to drive me nuts, and sometimes you felt like he wasn't giving it 100%. But if you look at all his numbers with the Angels, how do you deny this guy? I mean, he's a until Trout came along, He was the franchise leader in hits with 2,369, total bases with 3,793, doubles 489. He had 1,292 RBIs. He scored 1,024 runs. That leads the franchise in every single category until Trout came and knocked him off on most of those.
I understand. I understand. Gary Anderson is an Angels legend. All right, he should have his number retired, along with, I think, Salmon.
Yeah.
If this was a top 5 list, Gary Anderson's probably my 4 and 5. But there's 2 other seasons from left fielders.
Okay. Well, we're going to hear it right now.
One's Downing.
Who's your number 1?
My number 1 is 1987 Brian Downing. Yeah, baby, 1987 Brian Downing. Now this year the average wasn't as high. The thing that went off the charts was his slugging, and he put that together with a 400 on base percentage season. That's cuckoo. 272, 400 on base, 487 slugging, 886 OPS, a 137 OPS plus. So he's 37 better than league average.
Yep.
The thing that puts him above his 1979 season is the power. His 29 home runs, and he led the league in walks, 106 walks. When I saw the 400 on base percentages, you know me, my mouth started watering. I was going nuts. I didn't even know people did that back then. It was crazy. And so, and those 2 seasons are better than any season that Gary Anderson has had as an Angel.
I don't know. You just look. And again, I love Brian Downing, and I don't know why I didn't put him on a list. But he's
not even on your list.
No, and you know what? It's crazy. This is the crazy thing.
How is Brian Downing not on your list?
Wait. Listen, I went back to what you were talking about. Like, I started looking at things a little bit different this week because you were like saying, "Hey, are we picking the?" Because if we're picking the top 3, Downing's in my top 3.
Right. I think it goes.
Okay.
And honestly, it probably then for me goes Anderson, Downing, someone else.
Yeah. And who's that someone else?
Well, actually, I should rephrase that. It's JB Shuck 1, Anderson 2, Downing 3.
No. But you are forgetting about someone. And again, we'll talk about that in a minute. Am I ready for my number 1?
This is your number 1's not Anderson or Downing.
It is Anderson again.
You did all 3 times Anderson?
I did his 03 season.
Yeah, it was better. Yeah,
that was his best season, I think.
Wow.
And he batted .315.
I just don't know how Downing doesn't get in there.
Well, look, so I have Downing, and I have one other guy that you didn't talk about, and this guy was there season 2 of the Angels. Angels came into existence 61. He was there 60. He was there 61, 62, and 63, I think. And that is Leon Wagner.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me tell you something. Leon Wagner. Again, I wasn't around then either, so I can't sit and say I watched him. But he was with the Angels 3 years, All-Star game, all 3 years. He was the 1962 All-Star MVP. In 1963, he had 37 home runs, 37 home runs, 107 RBIs. His average was 268. So he wasn't, it wasn't a huge batting, but he did slug 500 and had an 826 OPS. I was looking back at some stats and just at what he did on those teams. Honestly, probably one of our best hitters in those 3 years. You're with a team 3 years, you make the All-Star game in all 3 years and win All-Star MVP. He didn't make my list though. Like I said, I did Garrett Anderson, but if I'm picking them, I would have been Anderson, Downing, Wagner. That would have been the order I would go with. If I'm just going by stats and consistency, and I love Downing. Downing, I think the Angels did him wrong. He kind of fell off the map after he left the Angels because I guess there was some bad blood between them for a while, and I felt bad because I really think he would have been helpful. The guy was just a bulldog. I mean, just that guy did everything. I mean, he was a catcher when we first got him, I think, from Philadelphia for his first couple years, and then he moved to left field. And for a guy as big as he is to play left field, and this isn't nowadays fitness, okay? Nowadays, you can have an Aaron Judge who's, super tall, big guy, and limber enough. This was back in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. This guy was massive, huge, built like a wall. And this guy played left field and played a good left field. And so, yeah, I agree. I would say, just to me, looking at consistency, Garrett Anderson through that 2000 to like 2005, his numbers, he's so consistent, so unbelievable. To me, he's the best left fielder we've ever had. Period. End of story. You can't put anybody else in there. So that was my list. So
I agree that Garrett Anderson is the best left fielder in franchise history. But those two 400 on base seasons from Downing, you don't get 400 on base percentage seasons very often.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And again, like I said, I didn't like stay on one stat like that. I was just thinking, and it's because I saw Downing. I saw Downing play. I loved him. He was one of my favorite players at that time. But I don't know, just in comparing him to what I see today in players and how Garrett Anderson played, I don't know. I loved Garrett Anderson for his consistency. The guy he just always came through. I will say, too, one thing about Brian Downing. Did you know I think he's the only Angel, I'd have to look this up, I could be wrong, or only one or two, that played in all three of their first three division championship teams, 79, 82, and 86.
Oh, so he was part of those early
Yeah, he was
teams.
He was with us, I think, from 79. I think that was his first year. I think he came in 78, and he played through 1990 with us.
Yeah, he played with it a long time.
Yeah, so, I mean, definitely, his last few years weren't great. He's, kind of towards the end of his career. I think he even went on and played. Did he play somewhere else?
He did.
After that?
I don't have him pulled up, but he did.
Yeah, I think he played somewhere else for like another year. Kind of like Anderson. Anderson, his last 2 years, left the Angels, played a couple
he was a
more
Dodger.
years. But yeah, and he was pretty bad. And
Yeah,
that
he
was the end of his
He
career.
was very bad, yeah.
That was the end of the end for him. But yeah.
All right, well, we have Mike pulling out 3 Garrett Andersons out of who knows where, and I'm a big Brian Downing believer now. After today, I'm a big Brian Downing lover. I love him.
Oh, I love
Anytime you give me 400 on base,
yeah,
makes me...
what was it? His walks? He must have been a big walks guy.
Oh, yeah,
because his batting averages weren't crazy, so it had to be his walks.
He led the league in walks one year.
I probably missed that.
That's why it was my number 1 year for him. 1987, led the league, 106 walks.
Yeah, I was going to say it has to be walks, how he's getting on base, because his batting averages. Though, like you said, he had a really good batting average.
And you know me on walks.
79.
I love my walks.
Oh, we know how you are on walks. That's for sure. All right, so that's our list of left fielders all time.
All right, except for there is one tier, and when it comes to left fielders in Angel history, that just you can't really rank it because it's not quantifiable.
Okay,
but
not going there.
But it's 2013 JB Shuck. Okay. Guy was a phenom.
First of all, can I tell you, I'm sure everybody who's watching this doesn't even know who JB Shuck is.
No, they definitely know who JB Shuck is.
Okay, he made one incredible catch, and
it's not just the catch. It's not just the catch. Which, by the way, the catch, if you guys have not seen,
you better get that clip in here.
Oh, it'll be on there. JB Shuck's catch off of Jose Bautista. Rest in peace, Tommy Hansen. It's I can't talk about it. There's no words. Fun fact about 2013 JB Shuck, he hit .423 on base percentage of 689 and a slugging of 1.2. His OPS plus was like 250. It's a crazy year for JB Shuck.
Yeah, that's amazing.
All right, we're gonna move on to our last topic of the night, and then you guys should probably be going to bed, getting back to work, whatever you guys are doing. I don't know. It's almost start for the season. It's almost time for the start of the season. You know what that means. It's time for everyone to bring out their lousy predictions for the year. We're not going to make any predictions. We are going to react to some predictions. So yes, predictions from people who are way smarter than us. I'm talking about the Zips Fangraphs standing projections and the Baseball Prospectus standing projections, otherwise known as PCOTA. And just a little background. We're going to go through each one of them and kind of give our basic reactions, and then my father has prepared something for us to go over, and we're going to kind of give our take on that real quick. But first, we're going to go over Fangraphs. So this is done by Dan Ziemberski. That's why it's called Zips. The Z, he takes the Z from his last name. Get an easier last name, my man. Dan Ziemberski.
That's why it Zips.
I guess I can't talk about last names. When he was at, it's from a Baseball Think Factory. This one looks like it's based off a computer. Yeah, it's using growth and decline curves based on player types to find trends, but I guess that's for players, not the teams. This one's computer based.
Yes.
The other one, Picoda, is done a little bit differently. That is done by simulations. So they simulate the season over and over and over again, and they take the average of where they ended, and then that's where they put you at. That's why their win totals have decimal points.
Yes.
But Fangraphs is just done by computer projections.
Yeah.
We're going to do something real quick. We're going to look at the Angels division, the AL West, from Fangraphs, from the Zip projections, and they have the Angels finishing 85-77, 5 games out of first place. They do have the Astros winning the division at only 90-72. So the one thing about the Zips projections is that they are taking into account the more balanced schedule. If you notice that you go through all the divisions that Zips has done, there's no team in the American League that is projected 90 wins except for the Astros.
Yeah.
Everyone else is below 90.
That is correct.
So they are really they're thinking that their balanced schedule is really going to affect the divisions. I think it is. I mean, if you don't give the Guardians like 20 games against the Royals and the Tigers, then I think they're a way worse team. But I mean, they have the Guardians only winning 83 games and winning the division. That's nuts. They have the Angels playoff percentage at 53.2, which is a very hopeful sign for us. However, the Angels, year after year, after they come up with these zip projections, always seem to be the one team that is the outlier and that don't fit into the projections and always fail terribly below. So again, we have all learned as Angel fans not to get too excited about these projections, but we are projected based off Zip, I believe,
To be 6th overall.
We sneak in.
Yes, we're number 6. Well, actually, we're tied with Seattle at 85 wins each.
Right.
And so that's good enough for, actually, that's tied for 5th. So we would take the 5th and 6th spots.
All right. So,
But that's not true, and let me explain why. Cleveland, who wins their division, only has 83 wins. So
Yes,
I guess
they're
it's
in.
a one-game playoff again between Seattle and the Angels.
Oh.
And winner take all
We're gonna
to go to the
lose.
playoffs. So
We're gonna lose.
Randy Johnson's not pitching anymore, so we should be okay. But yeah, it's they have us. So this is. I'll just give you the top 10 just for the American League. They have Houston at 90 wins, the Yankees at 89 wins, Toronto at 88. Tampa at 86, then us and the Mariners at 85. They have Cleveland at 83, Minnesota at 80, tied with Baltimore at 80, and then tied for 10th is Boston and Texas with 79.
I'm glad that Texas is that low, because anyone that has taken a look at Texas's offense and their bullpen, and they think that they're gonna. I heard Hale Reynolds and Matt Vasgersian say on their Hot Stove show that the Rangers, they wouldn't be surprised if they won the division.
Yeah, well, both of those guys, both of those guys don't really know what they're talking about. Honestly, I think they're just over anxious and overzealous, and that makes no sense. And not just that. I mean, they picked up some great pitching for their starting pitching staff. All of them,
Very volatile.
very volatile to injury. I mean, we're already hearing it in spring training. They barely gotten
Jacob
off the
DeGrom
ground.
threw a pitch in his.
And he's already having to
sides.
rest his arm. So it's going to be a long season for Texas. They didn't do anything offensively really to help their team much. And, I mean, will they improve some? You would think they're going to improve some, but they're not going to win the division. You know what? Until somebody dethrones Houston, as much as I hate Houston,
Houston's
the
gonna
trash
win it.
cans, you still have to give it to them. I mean, year in and year out, the consistency of the way they run their organization.
I mean, throughout the playoffs, they didn't even have to go through all the relievers.
I know, it's crazy.
They had a couple relievers in their pen they didn't even use.
I know. I mean, I'm just saying.
Good
it's
relievers.
Crazy. I know. Relievers we would love to have.
Yes, we would.
So, no, I 100% agree with you. I just think that's crazy. But I will say one thing on Fangraph's side, just a quick glimpse at the National League. I know we're not really going to talk about them much, but just a quick glimpse. As this will just kind of show you the balance schedule thing, and then I think also how much worse the bottom tier of teams are in the National League.
Yeah.
Fangraphs, so we had Houston with the only 90-win team in the American League, right? In the National League, there are 5 90-win teams. We have Atlanta and the Mets at 94 apiece, St. Louis and the Dodgers, and San Diego all tied with 91 apiece.
Yep.
Okay? Then they go 88 games for the sixth spot. The last team to make the playoffs is going to be San Francisco, and they're going to beat out Philadelphia, who they're only bringing in 85 wins, which I don't get how San Francisco is getting 88 wins. Arizona at 81. The Cubs at 78. They have Miami at 75, rounding out the top 10. Okay, so I think what that basically shows you is our top 11 teams, the 11th team had 79 wins. The 11th team in the National League has 70. So it just goes to show American League is much tougher. We don't have those
bottom feeders.
We don't. I mean, the bottom feeder is Oakland, and they still find
tough.
A way to throw out. They're always a tough team.
I don't ever want to face Oakland. Oakland, I don't care how bad they get, they will find a way to beat you. If the AAA people you never heard of.
They seem to find some way. They're like Tampa Bay. They find some way to come up with some things that you're just like, how the heck did you do that?
Yeah, the East is scary. I mean, everyone is almost the worst team in that division projected for Fangraphs is Boston at 79. The Central is the only division you can really go, oh, okay. But I mean, the Tigers and Royals. The Royals, I think, are going to be way better than what they're projecting them at 70 wins. I think the Royals are going to be better than that. I think the Tigers are going to plummet. I think they went in on some free agents way too soon.
Yeah,
I had no clue what they were doing. I had no clue. They were nowhere, and they went out and put money on Javi Baez. And Eduardo Rodriguez.
Yeah,
I was.
Desperation does things to you.
That's more than desperation. That's just because they didn't even splurge on the right players.
No,
it was just.
Sometimes they're just trying to find people to bring
Anytime you make the
stadium.
Angels look smart, it's rough. Yeah. But we're gonna switch over to PECOTA. This is the projections done by Baseball Prospectus. The ones that are done by simulations. I don't know if you have any stuff on PECOTA, but the Angels are actually projected 1 win better at 86 wins, 86.6 actually.
And that actually is good enough for the number 6
spot.
It is good enough
for the number 6
and this time the 6th spot without a tiebreaker.
Yep.
So 0.1 win better than Tampa Bay.
They got you, Tampa Bay.
So I'll kind of give you the rundown. They got the New York Mets winning the division. They're the highest wins total, even in comparison. The Yankees. Sorry, the New York Yankees. They have the highest at 97.3. That's the highest in baseball, either league. Houston at 95.2, followed by Toronto at 89.6. They have Cleveland at 87.9, followed by Minnesota at 87.8. 0.1 difference. Then the Angels at 86.6, Tampa at 86.5. Then it drops off from 86.5 Tampa to 81.9 Seattle, 80.2 Red Sox, and then it's 79 for
the White Sox.
Thank you. I can't even read my own writing. And then Texas at 78.8. Well, that's really the 11th spot. I just wanted to see where Texas fell in. They had them 11th in the PECOTA rankings.
So very similar spot for Zip. So that's 2 projection systems, both rankings around the 85-86 mark. Both of them have us sneaking into the playoffs. Each one of them, the playoff percentage, I think for PECOTA is 55%. And then Fangraphs for us is 53%. So basically, it's a coin flip.
Yeah.
It's a coin flip. I mean, we're going to be in a dogfight with Seattle, it looks like, all year.
Yeah.
Anyone that says we're going to be in a dogfight with Texas, you should take a long, hard look in the mirror. They'll probably make the playoffs this year, and then this clip will be replayed. Someone's got to kill that cat, by the way.
Yeah, we do have a cat running around.
Someone's got to take it out.
And from a National League standpoint, I'll just kind of give you the top 10 in the National League. They have the Dodgers leading there at 96.1 wins, followed by the Mets at 95.7, San Diego at 93.1, Atlanta at 90.8, Philadelphia at 89.6, and Milwaukee at 87.5. Those would be your playoff teams. Milwaukee winning their division, so the 3 wild cards is San Diego, Atlanta, and Philadelphia.
They don't have St. Louis.
And St. Louis just missing it at 85.6, San Francisco 80.8, Miami at 80, and they have the Cubs at 76.7 and Arizona at 73.9.
They have Miami at 80?
Yes, above the Cubs and Arizona.
Okay, by the way, look, I am bullish on Miami. Their starting staff's ridiculous, and they added a lot of good bullpen pieces. I don't think
they improved their offense.
I don't think Luis Arias and Gene Segura is enough. What needs to happen for them is their two outfielders they got, Soler and Garcia. They both have to go back to what they were. If that happens, then I see them.
But they don't have to be crazy great offense because their pitching, man, is shut down.
I mean, I know. Then I guess it makes sense.
They're going to win a lot of 3-1. You know?
I guess it makes sense if they're projected to win 80. That's around 500 because that's based off the run differential. If they're about even,
I'm surprised they have Arizona at 73-9. I mean, I just think Arizona's sneaky. The only thing is they're in a tough division, so maybe that's it. Maybe they get beat up a lot.
Balanced schedule, and that's the thing that Pecota doesn't really seem to care about. Yeah. They don't care about the balanced schedule. They're like the bad teams are still going to do bad, and the good teams are still going to do good.
Yeah, I mean, definitely will, but they still have to face their own division a lot more, and their own division is tough. You know, when you've got
the Dodgers
and San Diego in there, and even San Francisco, even though I think they're better than San Francisco. I think San Francisco.
You think the Diamondbacks are better than San Francisco?
I do. I think they're going to be better.
It's a hot take right there.
There's a hot take for you. Yeah.
But basically, to sum it up, the Angels are a coin flip for making the playoffs this year. This year, it's a little bit different. I know we say that every single year, but it is different this year because we don't have a bunch of one-year contracts manning the rotation. We don't have some other one-year contract manning shortstop. We have a lot of depth of flavor this year. So it is a little bit different. We don't have a bunch of 1 year, just fill them in. Let's see if this works this year. We'll roll the dice. No, we have depth this year. One guy goes down, we're going to be okay. So it is different. So that's why I feel a little bit more confident.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of look at it as you've got to have your year. Eventually, we've got to have a year where we don't have the major injuries. You're always going to get dinged up some. There's no doubt. Every team gets dinged up. But we always get the guys that miss half a season, a whole season, Tommy John, you know, and they're always freak things and crazy stuff, getting hit in the, you know what I mean? And it's constant. And there's got to be a year where we finally get some guys stay healthy. I mean, you know, Rendon needs to stay healthy a full season. I think we talked about this. I think him not having to play as much now that we have depth in the infield, you know, you can put him out there 120 games. You know, the only problem with Shohei Ohtani, he takes up all our DH spots, so we can't just put a bat in there to put a bat.
Yeah,
because he doesn't play in the field. Why not throw him in the field and then we can give somebody a day?
I think it'd be fun. Those couple times they put him into the outfield back before the rule got in place for him. I wish a ball got hit to him. A ball never did get hit to him. So
that would have been all over.
Oh, it would have been him catching an easy fly ball. Top one play on ESPN. Shohei Ohtani catches a fly ball.
Yeah, his range was incredible. Only 16% of people could have caught that ball.
Yeah.
Well, he's tall and fast, so he probably would have made it. The only thing is like you said, would he have taken the right route to the ball? I think that's the one biggest thing.
Well, let me tell you something. I had my first ever game in a long, long time ago. This past Sunday.
Yeah.
I joined a men's league recently.
Yeah. How did that go?
I realized
time's passed you by.
Time has passed me by. Your jaw's gonna drop. First play in the outfield, I dropped it.
Nice. How would they think? Are you still on the team?
Yeah, they still kept me.
They're that bad, huh? They're the Angels, yeah.
Hey, we won. So,
well, it could have been worse. It could have hit you off the top of the head and gone over the wall.
It was a tough play. I'll talk to you about it later. I don't want to embarrass myself in front of random people. So, I did great. It was embarrassing. Anyway, that's it for episode 3 of the Angel Angle. In other words, to sum it up, Brian Downing over Garrett Anderson. JB Shuck is the best left fielder in all of baseball. And
Perry listens to me.
And Perry does listen to him, and he listens to the Angel Angle, just like you guys should.
Absolutely, every day.
And if you want to know if the Angels are going to make the playoffs this year, just go find a coin and flip it. Whatever you get, that's what it is. That's what the Angels are doing. That's essentially what we have learned here from our projections. So, thank you all for watching to the Angel Angle.
Yes. You guys all have a great week. We'll see you next Thursday.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Bye now.
Go call your parents or something.